Hello, and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Grandpa Lin Wang, Taipei's oldest elephant. The sun was warm and golden over the hills of Taipei. A small boy named Wei stood at the zoo gate, holding his grandmother's hand. Around them, the air smelled of popcorn and fresh-cut grass. "Nai-Nai," he whispered, "which animal is the most special?" His grandmother smiled and looked at him for a long moment. "Come," she said softly, "I will show you." They walked past the peacocks, whose tail feathers caught the morning light like tiny fans. They walked past the flamingos, pink as cherry blossoms after rain. Then at the far end of a wide, shady yard, they stopped. There stood an enormous elephant. His skin was gray and wrinkled, like the bark of a very old tree. His eyes were deep and still, like two quiet brown pools. He moved slowly, each heavy foot lifting and setting down with great care. "That is Lin Wang," grandmother said, her voice warm and low. "He is very, very old." Wei felt the ground tremble softly under each of the elephant steps. "How old?" he asked. Grandmother squeezed his hand. "Older than anyone you have ever met. Older than anyone I have ever met. Older even than the city remembers." Lin Wang was born very far away, deep in a green forest in Burma. That was in 1917, long before your parents were born, and long before their parents were born. Burma is a hot country, full of tall trees and wide rivers and the smell of wild ginger in the rain. As a young elephant, Lin Wang was called a Mei in the local language. A Mei means beautiful. He worked in the forest helping men move heavy logs from one place to another. He was gentle and very, very strong. Then, in the 1940s, a great and terrible war swept through Asia. Soldiers from far away came marching through the jungles of Burma. A Mei and 12 other elephants were taken to carry heavy loads through the thick jungle mud. The air was hot and wet, and the paths twisted between trees, tall as buildings, but a Mei kept walking, day after day. In January 1945, Chinese soldiers from the new First Army found a Mei and his group near a wide river called the Shuili. The soldiers were kind. They gave the elephants cool water to drink and fresh grass to eat. A young officer asked the Burmese handlers what the elephants' names were. "This big one," said the handler, "is a Mei. It means beautiful." The officer looked up at the enormous dust-covered elephant. He was quiet for a moment. "Beautiful, he says," he said. After the war ended, a Mei and his companions began a long march east out of the jungle and into China. They walked through the cool mountains of Yunnan. They walked past rice paddies green as jade. They walked through the busy streets of Guilin, where people stopped in the road to stare at the great gray animals. There were 13 elephants at the start of the journey. The road was very long, and food was sometimes scarce. To help feed the herd, the soldiers taught the elephants gentle tricks, how to bow, how to raise one foot, how to wave a trunk. People came to watch and paid a little money, and that money bought sugarcane and bamboo shoots. A Mei ate every piece of fruit he was offered. He drank from every river they crossed. He never fell behind. Slowly, the group made its way south to Guangdong on the coast of China in April 1947. A ship waited in the harbor. A Mei weighed about 5 tons, as heavy as 5 small cars stacked together. He could not walk up the ship's gangway like the soldiers, so the crew spread a wide cargo net on the dock. A Mei stepped carefully into the middle of it. The crane hummed and lifted up over the railing. Out above the blue water below, a Mei's ears spread wide. His eyes stayed calm gently. The crane set him down on the deck of the ship. 2 other elephants, a Lan and a Pai, were lifted aboard the same way. The ship steamed east across the Taiwan Strait. The water was dark blue, and the salt wind blew warm. On the other side of that wide sea was an island called Taiwan. A Mei had never seen it, but he would never leave it again. When the ship docked, a Mei stepped off onto new ground. The air smelled different here, sweet and humid, heavy with banyan trees and frangipani blossoms. For a few years, a Mei lived at an army base in Kaohsiung, in the south of Taiwan. He helped carry timber for building projects. General Sun Li-jen, the commander who had brought him all the way from Burma, came to visit often. They had traveled a very long road together, and the general had not forgotten. By 1951, a Mei was the last of the original 13 elephants still alive. In 1954, the army gave a Mei a gift. They sent him north to the Taipei Zoo, which sat in the Yuanshan neighborhood on a green hill above the city. The zoo gave him a fine new name, Lin Wang, meaning King of the Jungle. But when the newspapers printed his name, one small character got mixed up. King of the Jungle became just Lin Wang. A friendly, ordinary man's name, the kind of neighbor or a grandfather might have. The zookeepers laughed. The readers laughed too. Lin Wang it is. Everyone said, and it stuck. At the Yuanshan Zoo, Lin Wang was not alone for long. There was already one other elephant, a young female named Malan. She was smaller and quicker, and she sniffed the warm air the moment Lin Wang arrived. Lin Wang was older and dignified. He kept his distance at first. But Malan was patient. Day after day, she waited near the fence between them. One cool morning, Lin Wang walked slowly toward her and touched her trunk with the tip of his. It was a gentle thing, like a handshake or a quiet hello. That was enough. They became companions. For nearly 50 years, they walked side by side in the same yard. Children, pressing their faces against the rail, would point and whisper, "Look! The elephant grandpa and grandma!" By October 1983, Lin Wang was 66 years old. The Yuanshan Zoo decided to throw him a birthday party. Children came from all over Taipei, wearing bright shirts and carrying paper flowers. A banner above the gate read, "Happy birthday, Grandpa Lin Wang." Someone brought a tower of sliced fruit. Melon, mango, and sweet pineapple stacked high. Lin Wang walked slowly to the edge of his yard. He lifted his great trunk and breathed in the sweetness drifting through the air. Then very gently, he took a slice of melon from a keeper's open hand. The crowd cheered so loud, the birds scattered across the sky. After that, birthday parties became a tradition. Taipei's mayors came. School classes arrived in long, noisy lines. Grandmothers brought their grandchildren, the same grandmothers who had visited Lin Wang themselves when they were small. 3 generations all saying the same words, "Happy birthday, Grandpa." In 1986, the Taipei Zoo moved to a new home, a wide green valley called Muzha, south of the old city. Moving Lin Wang was not a small task. He was nearly 70 years old. The zoo built a special trailer, padded with thick hay on the morning of the move. Thousands of people lined the streets just to watch him pass. Some held signs, "Safe travels, Grandpa." Others just stood quietly, waving. Lin Wang had crossed rivers on rafts, marched through jungles, and hung above the ocean in a cargo net. A short drive through Taipei was nothing. When he arrived at Muzha, a new crowd was waiting and they cheered. Until the valley echoed, years at Muzha were quiet and good. Lin Wang grew older the way tall trees grow older. Slowly and with great dignity, in 2002, Malan passed away. Lin Wang walked to the corner of the yard they had shared and stood very still. The keepers came and sat nearby. So he would not be alone in the quiet. 1 year later, on February 26, 2003, Lin Wang slept peacefully away. He was 86 years old. One of the longest-lived captive elephants ever recorded anywhere in the world. People across Taiwan heard the news and remembered. They remembered birthday cakes built of fruit. They remembered waving at a slow, padded trailer on a morning in 1986. They remembered being small children, looking up at enormous, quiet gray eyes. After Lin Wang passed, his body was carefully preserved. It now stands in the National Museum of Taiwan History in the southern city of Taiyini. If you visit, you can stand right beside him. You can look up into his still, dark eyes, and children still whisper up to him, "Hello, Grandpa Lin Wang." Wait. The small boy at the start of our story grew up just as children do. When he had children of his own, he brought them to the zoo in Muzha. He stood at the fence where Lin Wang had once stood. The leaves above rustled in the warm evening air, and he told them what his grandmother had told him. This elephant was born in the forests of Burma. In 1917, he crossed mountains, rivers, and a whole sea to reach Taiwan. 3 generations of children called him Grandpa. He lived 86 years. He belongs to everyone who remembers. Good night, little one. If you ever visit Taipei, the Muzha Zoo is still there, green and quiet. You can hear the leaves rustling and feel the warm evening air on your face. You will know that a great, gentle giant once called this city home, and so Taipei also slowly fell asleep. Good night.